$1 million mansion, luxury cars, and a religious leader who promises to heal the sick for a price.
But if you think you know where this story's going, hold on. I-Team reporter Randy Travis says chances are you've never met a preacher like this one. Randy?
That's right, Amanda Russ. That's because this man is a Hindu preacher. There are roughly 50,000 people in metro Atlanta who follow the Hindu faith. Their leaders traditionally shun material wealth in favor of a humble relationship with God. But former followers say this leader is far from humble. Just off Jimmy Carter Boulevard in Gwinnett County, the Hindu Temple of Georgia sure makes its presence known. Not just with the eye-popping colors of this former Christian church, but through the actions of its charismatic and controversial leader, a man known as Dr. Commander Selvam Sadar.
I go by the name Dr. Commander.
These guys have got to be brought to justice.
Every human has problems.
You can find him on YouTube or on page after page of his self-published magazine. His face smiles down at you from all directions, cheerfully offering his blessing. Dr. Commander calls himself a Swami, a religious leader, and as such offers a holy solution for virtually any problem, including marriage, medical malpractice, cancer, black magic, and evil power. Sometimes Dr. Commander will offer pujas and homams, special prayers, to help solve those problems. He says his temple holds these prayers around the clock, mailing out DVDs to the faithful. But the solutions to life's worries can come at a hefty price.
The first thing he gets is their credit card number.
Chandra Loganathan served as Dr. Commander's executive assistant starting last summer.
And within the first 1 week, exactly within 1 week, I told my wife, everything around him is fishy.
According to 4 complaints filed with the Better Business Bureau, Dr. Commander repeatedly made unauthorized charges to the customer's credit card, sometimes totaling thousands of dollars. In his response, Dr. Commander claimed the customers simply had buyer's remorse, and in our Hindu religion, money cannot be returned for the spiritual services done. But in a police report, Mr. Loganathan says he watched his boss repeatedly overcharging. He explains a typical transaction.
He would tell, okay, $5,000 for the whole thing, and he will swipe the card $5,000, and then after 3 days he will swipe it for another $2,000.
He complained to police after hearing what happened to 2 other fellow Indians.
Since he called himself a Swamiji, we gave him all the respect that is accorded to a Swamiji, to an renounced monk.
You bowed at his feet.
We literally fell at his feet.
2 years ago, Valmiki Raghunathan and his brother Sundaram rented this large auditorium inside the Hindu Temple of Georgia. They needed a place to host a visiting Hindu scholar, and Dr. Commander gave them a price, $2,500 for 5 nights.
He said, I'm not doing this for money. I'm doing this as a charity for the Hindu society.
But according to their Better Business Bureau complaint, the day of the seminar, Dr. Commander told them if they wanted to use his sound system, it would be an additional $500 a day. Then he insisted on speaking each night, putting his own picture up behind the speaker, and when the brothers objected, they say he turned off the air conditioning, then the lights, and made them hold their reception in the parking lot.
So it was not the way you had imagined it was going to be.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It was a nightmare.
In the temple's response to the Better Business Bureau, the high priest says the brothers actually owe the temple money, a charge they deny.
This is the most rented auditorium in the whole Gwinnett County. We are most cheapest and most biggest. It's with a beautiful condition.
In the Hindu faith, Swamijis are considered wise men who have given up the material trappings of wealth so they can be closer to God. The Hindu Temple of Atlanta in Riverdale is not connected to Dr. Commander's temple. Dr. Ravi Sarma is the president.
In the ideal world, a Swami is somebody who is not bothered by riches.
Doesn't care about money.
He's a speaker of spiritual wealth.
Yet we found Dr. Commander, whose real name is Annamalai Annamalai, actually owns this $1 million mansion in the Sugarloaf Country Club, right on the 3rd hole, with a Mercedes SUV and a new pickup truck parked in the driveway.
Have you ever heard of a Swami living in a $1 million mansion?
We are in 21st century, I guess anything is possible, but in general, no. Means that's not our mental picture of a Swami.
According to Gwinnett County records, Dr. Commander has actually borrowed heavily against his house, with 2 mortgages totaling $900,000.
You cannot buy blessing. You cannot buy the happiness. You need to create the happiness.
Dr. Commander sure seemed happy when two I-Team members paid an undercover visit to the temple.
Every Hindu Indian in America, they know me very well, this country.
He told us his home is actually in Beverly Hills, California, and he visits Georgia 1 week a month.
See, anything people get into this trouble, they come to me.
But we found no property records for Dr. Commander in Beverly Hills. No address, no other house than his Sugarloaf mansion.
Actually, I'm a guru. I'm a monk. I'm a high priest. I got millions of followers, so I just bless everyone.
Bless everyone. Well, I sure wanted to ask Dr. Commander some questions. When I called over here, his chief priest said he was meditating and would return my call later.
But the next day, these signs went up all around the Hindu temple of Georgia. Apparently, Dr. Commander doesn't bless everyone after all. As for these three men, they've taken their complaints to the Gwinnett County Police, who are now investigating what sort of business is really being conducted behind the gold spray-painted perimeter of the Hindu temple of Georgia.
He is cheating people, which goes against the grain of Hinduism itself. And the image that Americans will have about Hinduism will be very bad.
Dr. Commander faxed over a letter today saying, "My Hindu temple has been of great service to the Hindu community, not only in Atlanta, but all over the nation." And he claims the people complaining about him are trying to wrest the temple away for their own motives. Went by there and those Hindu-only signs no longer up around the temple.
Good. More tomorrow?
More tomorrow. In fact, Hindu leaders, religious leaders, frown upon alcohol and meat, especially in a temple setting. We're going to show you tomorrow what happens when two I-Team members show up to ask about renting space in the temple for a beer bash and barbecue. That'll be tomorrow night.
We'll see you then. Thanks, Randy.